Hi everyone, so this is Eksamenlokaal. It is not an in-depth analysis, it's just looking at a few of the things. Make sure that you have your poem in front of you because the poem is not on this video. It's just little parts of the poem that I took out. So titel, what does the title tell us? 'n ruimte waar leerders eksamen skryf. It's literally telling us where learners are writing exams. Eksamenlokaal is exam venue. And then what kind of spreker do we have? Derde persoon spreker, leerder wat eksamen skryf. Now, just very important, please never ever assume that the poet is the speaker. Whenever they ask you a question, you say the spreker sê, the speaker says. Now, the reason this is third person, even though it is a learner that's writing the exam, is because no personal pronouns is being used. They're kind of just giving us an overall view of what is happening in the examination venue. Vrye vers, geen vaste rymskema of vorm nie. So it says it's free verse, not just because there's no set rhyme scheme. Okay? The focus here is on the fact that the structure is free verse because there is no set structure. Okay? The lines are different lengths, the stanzas are different lengths. They're not all exactly the same. And that is why it is classified as vrye vers. Thema, the theme of the poem, die spanning, the tension, vrees, fear, onsekerheid, uncertainty, angs, anxiety, wat leerders tydens die skryf van eksamens ervaar, that learners experience during the writing of exams, and then just this universeel, it is universal because most people all over the world have written exams some or other space in their lives, and it is very overwhelming and it's not the best time. So this is just a summary opsomming of the poem. 'n Onderwyser loop op en af in die eksamenlokaal soos die leerder skryf, sy het toesig. So a teacher is walking up and down in the exam venue as the learners are writing, she's invigilating. En sy neem die vraestelle aan die einde in and she collects the answers at the end. Die leerders het eers die vorige middag vir hul eksamen geleer. The kind of focus here is also on the fact that these learners only started studying for this exam the previous afternoon. Not just what each stanza is focusing on. So strofe 1, stanza 1, focus op die aksies en voorwerpe in die lokaal. So it's focusing on the actions and the objects that you can find in the exam venue. Strofe 2, focus op die papier antwoordboeke. Stanza 2 is focusing on the paper and the answer sheets. Strofe 3, focus op die hande van die leerders. Stanza 3, focus on the hands of the learners, like it's saying it is shaking as they're writing. Strofe 4 gaan oor die tyd wat verby tik. Stanza 4 is about the time that is ticking by. En strofe 5 gaan oor die onderwyser wat die antwoordboeke inneem. Stanza 5 is about the teacher collecting the answer books. Then just a few things we find in this poem. One of the things is Neologism, which is neologism. I think that's how you pronounce the word in English. And it is just like the coining of new words, creating new words that don't already exist within the language. So September examenlig. The first one we have is September exam A. And that obviously is not actually a real word in Afrikaans, but what is it doing? Okay, it indicates the following to us. Tyd wanneer die eksamen plaasvind, the time that the exam is taking place in. Because this is very specific for matrics. Which exams are written, well, anywhere actually in South Africa. Other grades don't write exams in September. Who writes exams? Matrics. And it is prelims. So rekordeksamen of voorbereidende eksamen. Okay, voorbereidende means preparing. Okay, so it's the preparing exam. Dan inkwarboel, it translates to ink klatter. Letterlik is die leerder se handskrif nie netjies nie. Could literally indicate to the fact that the learner's handwriting isn't that neat. Figuurlik is die antwoorde van die leerders te mekaar soos hul gedagtes. Figuratively, it could indicate that the answers the learners are writing is as like te mekaar and messy and cluttered as their thoughts. Ken miskien nie hul werk nie. It could potentially indicate to the fact that the kids don't know all of their work. Then enyambaments in German, obviously we understand this is when one line flows into another when you are reading it. Strofe 1, it's in stanza 1, dui die beweging van die onderwyser aan. It indicates the movement of the teacher as she is invigilating and walking in between the desks that are there. En die beweging word beklemtoon and the movement of the teacher is being emphasized. Then we have alleenplasing, which is like solo placement, putting something by itself. It's always purposeful. It is not accidental. So strofe 4, so stanza 4 is alleenplasing because the line is just there by itself. Beklemtoon hoe stadig die tyd verbygaan. It's emphasizing how slowly the time is passing as you're writing exams. And that is the line, die horlosie tel 2 ure af. The clock is counting down 2 hours. Beeldspraak, so what is the imagery that we get in this poem? Personifikasie, so personification in this poem. And this is when human qualities are given to non-human things. So in line 3, tussen die rye stoepstilbanke, so in between the rows of quiet desks, desks don't actually have mouths, but what it's referring to here is leerders wat skryf is still, the learners who are writing the exam are quiet. And then in line 8, die horlosie tel 2 ure af, the clock is counting down 2 hours. It just indicates die tyd wat verloop, the time that is passing. Metaphor, then metaphors. This is when you're describing something by saying it is that thing. So we have line 3 again because the Chupstel banke is referring to learners. So what it's doing here is leerders gelykgestel aan banke. They're saying the learners are the desks. I think it just adds to the dehumanizing aspects of an examination venue by saying that children are objects, the learners are objects, and not actually humans. And then in line 9 and 11, we're focusing on the word oes and we're focusing on the word ripe. Oes is harvest and the ripe is ripe. So die onderwyser neem die vraestelle in oes, so the teacher is collecting the question papers, which refers to like the harvesting. En die leerders se antwoorde is daarop ripe. And the learner's answers are on there that is like ripe with knowledge. And it's basically like a farmer would go and harvest the things that they have sown. Then stelfigure, the figures of speech that are used. So first we have contrast, which is putting kind of two opposing things next to each other or against each other. Strophe 1, so in stanza 1, we have hard, loud, versus Chupstel, dead quiet. Beklemtoon die geluid van die onderwyser se skoene, emphasizes the sound of the teacher's shoes as she's walking up and down the rows, teenoor die leerders wat stil by hul banke sit, against the learners who are sitting quietly by their desks. And then strophe 3 in stanza 3, we have skoon wit valle, so clean white papers, versus inkwarboel, ink clutter. So voor die leerders begin skryf, it is how clean and white the paper is before the learners start writing, teenoor against nul begin skryf after they start writing, so chaos van ink, the chaos of ink that is on the answer sheets. Then we have irony, irony, which is like the opposite of what is expected is depicted. So in line 11, ripe met gistermiddag se kennis, ripe with yesterday afternoon's knowledge. Die ironie is dat die leerders nie goed voorbereid vir die voorbereidende eksamen is nie, gistermiddag se kennis. The irony is that the learners actually aren't well prepared for the preparing exams because they only studied the previous afternoon. En dis slegs soos 'n oes wat te ryp is, and that is bad, like a harvest that is too ripe, because if a harvest is too ripe, the actual harvesting becomes really difficult, which could just indicate here to the fact that the answers on here and the reason it was chaotic is because the kids didn't really know what was going on.